you're only as good as your last performance. And it's such a toxic mindset, but that's kind of what goes through my head, like, oh, a video popped off, great. What's the next video that's going to pop off? What's the next product that we're going to find? It's just constantly like working, honestly, like just searching for the next product, thinking of your next video. One thing that you always say, especially in calls and stuff, is just like showing up and don't be so attached to the outcome of it. And that's really one thing I'm trying to do, is just like not linger on my one viral video that popped off last week. It's time to make the next viral video.
Welcome to Brands Meet Creators, the channel where we help content creators grow and succeed and connect with brands. On our channel, you will find interviews with top creators and TikTok Shop affiliates, and you will learn tips and tutorials on how to grow and succeed as a content creator. Whether you're a new creator or you've been doing this a long time and you just want to learn more, I'm excited to have you here, so let's dive into today's video. Hello everyone. Today we have an amazing creator back who was here 4 months ago. It's so crazy how fast time flies, but we have Genesis. If you guys have not previously seen our interview with her that Mike and her did 4 months ago, we will tag it below. But Genesis has been crushing it on TikTok Shop. Literally, your consistency, it just blows my mind, and I'm so excited to get into how you've been able to consistently have wins, but also what has changed in the last 4 months. What is your top performing video? What is your overall GMV? How long have you been doing TikTok Shop? All of those things. And I know that you touched on that in your previous video, but Genesis, can you just give us a little recap? How long have you been on TikTok Shop?
So I started TikTok Shop. I can't remember if it was November or December of last year. Didn't have too much success. I joined the academy, the BMC Academy, at the end of January. And by March, I had my first 10K month.
What caused you to go from not even being on TikTok Shop to suddenly having your first 10K month in like 3 months?
Definitely consistency. I just worked at it. At first, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was posting once a week, twice a week, maybe, not consistent at all. And then on top of that, mindset really shifted it all.
Can you tell me what was the biggest mindset shift that you had to have in order to have this success?
I think just like believing that you can. My favorite book is like Atomic Habits, and I reread that earlier this year, and it was just like, one little baby step at a time, and you'll get there eventually.
Wow, it's so true. I actually just sent Nick that book because he's never read it. So, that book, Atomic Habits, it's so good. And it's so good having you in the academy. I know that you inspire so many people. And in your previous interview, you even said that you didn't even get on TikTok, right? Like, weren't you not even familiar with the platform?
No, I used to be a bartender, and I got on TikTok after the pandemic as a user, and I was like scrolling, and then I just became addicted to it, like many of us do. And I found UGC, and I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And that's when I decided I was going to go for it, change my life. In my head, I was like, oh, a few more $100 a month, that'll be great. And this week was my hardest week that I've had so far on TikTok Shop, and I still made more than I did at my old job.
Wow. So, okay, so 4 months ago, you had recently, like, just started really growing as a TikTok Shop creator. You said that you saw a strategy, a hook strategy that Mike had posted in the Brands Meet Creators Academy. And it's not relevant now, but back then you posted it, you saw it had success, you were like, okay, I'll do it. And then you saw it working, so you just kept repeating that, and you would reply to comments, and you would get like 10 videos out every day. Not being a perfectionist about it, you were just like, there's a comment with a question, I'm going to reply to this comment with a video, tag a product, and then do it and repeat that process. How has that strategy changed, if it has? And how long did you stick to that if it did change? I'm just going to stop there. Yeah, I would love to know, because 4 months, so much can change, right? And so I would just love to know, are you still doing that same thing? If you are a content creator and you want to connect with other successful TikTok shop creators, then we want to invite you to our TikTok shop affiliate Accelerator. This is a free group with online courses, coaching calls, a private community, and access to brand collaborations for ongoing consistent income. We have so much we want to give you, and it is completely free, and all you have to do is sign up using the link.
I'm still definitely using the same strategy. The hook, like you said, it was about the TikTok shop ban when it was like a huge deal. So it's not really as relevant now. But I definitely do the same strategy. I find something that works and do it over and over again and tweak little things here and there. And then one of them will hit. Like a few months ago, there was like a flash sale that I heard about a few days before. So I set up 5 videos basically saying the same thing like, hey, there's this flash sale, you should buy this. And 3 of those hit over 100,000 views. So, like, I just remake the same video over and over and over, small tweaks here and there, obviously, but until one of them hits, basically.
Wow. One thing that I've seen that you're really good at that I know is probably what gets you a lot of sales is you have so much urgency in your videos. So, like you said, the TikTok ban isn't relevant right now at the time of this recording, but that urgency of like, oh, all these brands are trying to get rid of their inventory, there's crazy sales, that was urgency. And then now, like the sales, the spring sale, like all these sales that have happened, that's an urgent thing because you know it's going to end. And so, would you say that's like the number one thing you make sure that you have in all your videos?
Absolutely. I think one thing in our calls that Nick always says is like what's going to get you to buy the product. And for me personally, if it's not on sale, if it's not a good deal, I'm not going to buy it. So that's why I try to make sure that I add that urgency and make sure everyone knows about it and knows that it's a limited time frame that you've got to get this deal.
Wow. That is such a good strategy. Honestly, that's like one of the main pieces of what makes a TikTok shop video perform super well. So I love that you're using that. Are you still replying to comments with a new video?
Yeah, I genuinely do try to do that when a video pops off. Like if a video pops off for me, you're gonna be sick of me on my timeline. It's gonna be like 5 videos of the same thing, just responding to any comment. Like it's my favorite thing, and I probably shouldn't even give them the time of day. But my favorite thing is to respond to hate comments with a video. It's
Honestly,
just like, this is on sale now. And they're like, stop. And I'm like, I'm not stopping.
I love it because for us, and you even said this in your previous interview, you were like, it feels like beating a dead horse, but it's not because they might be seeing it for the first time. But in terms of replying to hate comments, I see those pop up on my For You page more than anything. People that are either like saying, oh, thank you for this comment. This is actually untrue. Let me tell you the truth about this. And they remake a different video. Obviously, like you said, using different footage or you'll get flagged, but I see those more than anything, so I love that you're doing that. I think that's also a really good strategy.
That's one thing. People love tea.
Oh,
Any tea you can give them, it doesn't matter how small or big, people love tea. So that's something that I'm trying to lean into a little bit.
I love it. How do you keep your mind in a healthy place whenever people are being a little bit negative in the comments?
So there was one specific situation. I requested a sample and it didn't look good, but I needed to film a video for it. So I posted a video wearing the sample. I was like, I don't like this. It was like a bathing suit. And I had a ton of bad comments about my body. That one I just ignored. I was like, the ones that are actually get to me, I don't give them the time of day, don't give them the energy or the space in my mind. I just kept scrolling. The ones that are like, that's not a good deal, those I'm like, okay, let's go in on this. But the ones that like genuinely hurt my feelings, I just ignore and move on with my life.
Yeah, that's so healthy. I think that's one thing that I've heard a lot of creators talk about is just like, how do you deal with that? But you have to remember that I and you, I'm sure we would never go comment on anyone else's stuff saying anything like that because we're not hating on them. We don't have these things in ourselves. So we know it's like a reflection of what's going on in them, even though it doesn't feel good. So yeah, ignoring it, good. Do you just kind of keep it up or do you like delete comments or anything?
No, I just keep them up because one thing that I learned from the creation to cash flow podcast is that people fight for you, and that makes my day so much. Like, I'll leave a mean comment up, and then literally a day later, people are like, "Why are you being so mean to her? That was unnecessary." I'm like, yes, these are my people.
I love that. That's so smart. And that makes me happy to hear that the podcast is helping you.
So
Okay,
much.
good. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, question. What has been your total GMV that you have been able to generate for brands since you joined back in November or December of 2023?
I am at about 670,000 for brands
Wow.
in the last year or so,
Less than
or
a
a little bit
year.
less than a year. Yeah.
That's so crazy. And I know the holidays are really whenever people are purchasing things. So I'm sure that's going to grow exponentially as we close out 2024. So that's really exciting. And it's crazy because your consistency, and I know I said that, and I'm not just talking about consistency in posting, but I'm talking about consistency in winning. What do you think that you're doing differently? Because I know that people sometimes will have like a $20,000 month and then they'll have like a $1,000 month and then a $500 month, you know? And so, what do you feel like you're doing differently that you could share with everybody that has helped you 4 months later still be one of the top earning creators in our TikTok Shop affiliate accelerator agency?
This is gonna be so bad, but I don't know if you watch Dance Moms.
I've heard,
Uh,
yeah, not recently,
the
but I've
teacher,
watched it.
the teacher always says you're only as good as your last performance, and it's such a toxic mindset. But that's kind of what goes through my head, you know? Like, oh, a video popped off, great. What's the next video that's gonna pop off? What's the next product that we're gonna find? It's just constantly like working, honestly, like just searching for the next product, thinking of your next video. One thing that you always say, especially in calls and stuff, is just like showing up and don't be so attached to the outcome of it. And that's really one thing I'm trying to do, is just like not linger on my one viral video that popped off last week. It's time to make the next viral video, you know?
Wow. I love your mindset. You're so future forward thinking, and it sounds like you're self motivated too, which are really great qualities to have because you have to do that. You can't just like soak in this viral video. I myself have even been a victim of that where I'm like, oh, it's popping off. I could take a few days off. But then I kind of get out of the flow and it's just not helpful. And so I love that you're like, okay, this is great. I'm not going to attach myself to the outcome, which is huge. Everybody listening, please remember like your input is what matters and the outcome will come as long as you're showing up and putting in the input. So I love that you said that because it's so true. That's one of the biggest pieces of advice that I think everybody needs to hear and be reminded of. But I also would love to know whenever you do post a video and it flops, how do you feel? And then how do you get yourself out of being so stuck to where you're not executing another one?
I post videos that flop all the time. So I'm a little bit used to it. I mean, everyone does, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I have videos in the 300s that I posted yesterday, you know? Like, I think it's just really, really like detaching the input from the output. Like, there's no way to tell. There's been videos that were stuck at like 80 views for like 2 days, and then the third day they go up to like 80,000. So like, you really don't know what's gonna happen. There's no use in worrying about what's going on right now, how many views you have right now. Like, it's just trusting the process.
Yeah, and you do a lot of output. That's the thing too. Or you do a lot of input. You produce a lot. You're not overthinking it and doing like one perfect video a week or one perfect video a day. Like you're like they're perfect in your way, right? They're uniquely perfect because they're who you are. You're just showing up, you're providing the information and then people, I mean the urgency as well, and then people are making those sales. And so it's like you found your groove and your rhythm and I'm just really excited for you. That's huge, Genesis. Like, that's such a huge celebratory thing. And I know that so much more is coming. I would love to look at your top performing video right now because I want us to take a look at it together. And then I want to hear from you what you think you've done in this video that is causing it to be such a top performing video, a good
Okay.
earning video. So let me share my screen.
The battle of the straightening brushes. For starters, let's look at the brush themselves. They're pretty much the same, except for This one does have the ability to add negative ions, help smooth your hair while it straightens it. I obviously use this one way more than I use this one. I am obsessed with both of them. Both great quality, but this one has just a little bit more. And if that's not enough to sell you on it, right now they're both the same price, but this one has an $8 off coupon that you do have to add manually, so do not forget. Technically they're the same price, but if you're smart about it, you can get this one for way cheaper.
Wow. Wow. That was fun. Okay, tell me, how many videos have you made for this product?
For that product, a lot. I am on a retainer with them. I have a pretty good retainer with them. I only have to make 4 a month, but I make at least 4 a month.
Okay, so that was that for Wavy Talk, right? That was the brand.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how do you feel like this has, like, what is the number one thing that you did in this video, probably towards the beginning, that you feel really made people stay and watch and then actually want to purchase it?
I think that the hook at the beginning, like nothing on screen, then they both get waved onto screen. That's the visual hook. Then putting them against each other, there's the conflict there. And then the value of like teaching which one's worth your money, which one should you buy. So I think those three things combined just like popped it off. Because I'll be honest with you, I was not in a good place when I made this video. I literally just made it on my dining room table because I didn't want to be on camera and somebody asked a question about it. And I was like, oh, whatever, I'll just do it with my hands. And that's the craziest thing. Like, you never know what's going to pop off.
That's just so crazy. And it's honestly very encouraging to hear that, because tell me, how much GMV has this video produced?
To this day, it's made me $12,000.
12.
Commission, sorry. So I get 20% of that, I think.
Wow. Wait,
Yeah.
so wait, 12,000 GMV or 12,000 commission?
12,000 commission. Let me see how much that is.
That is insane.
60,000 GMV, I guess.
So, one video where you weren't in a good place, you didn't want to be on camera, so relatable, and you were like, I got a comment, this is an opportunity, I'm just going to make a comparison video, which, like you said, we've talked about this in Brands Meet Creators, but the conflict. People want to learn, so you're educating them on the differences. There's a conflict because there's that comparison. Love that. And you did have the nonverbal hook. A lot of times, you in the past were doing videos where you would get in your car and slam the door. Another amazing nonverbal hook. When people are holding their camera out in front of them and walking with it, that's another one. So you're right. I think that those, along with the text on screen, like which one will, is kind of like, ooh, there's a little T, there's a little conflict. Like, let's see what this person's saying. There's a battle. And I think that just with human psychology, that just works so well. And then you had urgency and a coupon, which means, oh, I'm getting a deal. I'm going to miss out if I don't get this deal. So I love that. Also, can you touch on the retainer? So I know with the TikTok agency that we have, the TikTok Shop Affiliate Accelerator, we have retainer options for creators. Is this one of those?
No, this one is completely separate. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't applied for retainers because I'm a mess. So I'm just like trying. We were talking about this off camera earlier. I want to move, so I'm kind of like in a weird transition phase. So I haven't applied for any of the TikTok shop retainers through the agency, even though I want to. Those are great. Like, I know a lot of my friends are making good money off of that. With Wavy Talk, I had that video and something else popped off, another viral video with them. I think it might have been with the original hook that I stole from Mike. So I've just been making a bunch of videos for them organically. Like Nick said, if you sell something, just become the face of that product. So I was just selling a bunch of them and they approached me and they're like, hey, would you like to make some videos for us every month? I was like, sure. So that's how that came about. But full transparency, that's the only retainer I have because, like I said, I'm a mess.
I mean, it sounds like it's giving you a lot. That one video, $12,000 from this one brand for just commissions on making videos about this. You didn't even show it in use, which is obviously something good to do, but you showed for one, you showed that this is a comment that I'm replying to, so therefore I'm a person who replies to your comment. So if you have a question, make a comment, I will engage with you. But it showed validity to it, because it's like this wasn't just a video where you were just showing it for the first time. You had like, oh hey, I've made a previous video, maybe you should go watch that one. So I think that you use so many great strategies, and it seems so simple, but it's so easy to overthink them. Do you have trouble with overthinking your hooks or anything like that?
I definitely do. I feel like I overthink everything. I mean, I feel like 99% of us do.
Yes.
But if you saw my desk right now, it is full of sticky notes. And like anytime find something that a good hook, I'll write it down. If I find a good video, I'll usually save it in my folders on TikTok. But like, or if I don't know if you've seen me during our weekly calls, I sit through our weekly calls. I'll sit in the retainer calls, even if I don't have a retainer, because that's just like a wealth of knowledge, like it's just so much information. And what works for one person might work for you. So I'm constantly jotting down notes.
Well, it sounds like that's how you started off. That's how your interview 4 months ago came about, was because you saw this hook that Mike suggested. You saw two other creators were doing it. You were like, maybe I'll try it. Like, whatever, it might work. And then it started working for you. And so I think that you're such a good creator. Obviously, you're super talented, but also you're such a go-getter. And you're like, I'm gonna show up. I'm not gonna worry about how the results are. I'm just gonna keep showing up, because I know they'll come if I keep showing up. And so I'm just really excited for you, Genesis. Thank you so much for even taking the time to talk again. I know we've interviewed you before, but I think that seeing it 4 months later, it's just different. And so, one last thing I want to ask is like, what is the biggest piece of advice? I know we've said a lot of different pieces of advice, but what's the biggest one that you would have for any TikTok shop creators that might be struggling, or they just haven't had their moment yet?
Just stick to it and be a student. You don't know everything. Be a sponge, soak it all up. What I know, another creator might not know, like, so take advice from people who are where you want to be. I feel like, especially content creation, everyone has an opinion on it, but like the only opinions that matter are people who you look up to.
Amazing. Where can people find you?
You can find me on TikTok, ugc.by.genesis. That's my TikTok shop page, or if my personal is Genesis Loves Life.
I love that.
I'm pretty sure. Well, let me just. It This one I'm just doing for funsies.
Do you ever post any mindset things on there?
I really should. I do every once in a while, but that one's more memes. It's genesis.loves.life.
Okay.
On TikTok.
Okay. I love that you separate your usernames by like dots or
Dots.
yeah. Amazing. Well, Genesis, thank you so much. I know I'm going to see you in the calls with Brands Meet Creators and through the agency, but I just appreciate you, and I'm excited for you, especially as we move into Q4. I maybe will have you on again, but I just appreciate it, and thank you for sharing all of your knowledge.
I appreciate you, Michelle. Thank you.